Good people, how's everyone doing today? Welcome to another episode of Mastermind Academy. I love all the chatter before we even get started. Penguins Airlines was first. I can confirm it. I can see everyone who started chatting from the very beginning. So I can see Penguins Airlines. Congratulations. You know, you're always first. I see you there. Good to have you. Ain't no profit. Good to see you. It's Mainzy. I'm very happy to see you. Well, welcome. I like the little diamond eyes. I respect it. What's up, Amame? That's pretty funny. I know you thought you were first. I'm sorry to break it to you. You were not. Mainzy, you were also not first. Sorry about that. You know, what's up, Uber King Kong? Absolutely. Fifth person to comment, fifth is best. You know, it's all about perspective. That's what Uber King Kong is showing us right now, that it's all about what you perceive to be true. That's right. I'm first on your screen. Yeah, I mean, if you refresh, you're probably first on yours. Uber King Kong, we are learning a little bit of object-oriented programming this evening. What's up, Cypher? How you doing? Silly Boy, what's up, man? How you doing? What's up, Digital Fendi? Good to see you. Yeah. Yeah, boo boo. I'm sorry. Yeah, Penguins Airlines has been first 99.6% of the time. To be honest, no one's on it. I like Penguins Airlines. I'm sorry about that. Got some Vim superpowers going there. I love it. I love it. You know, my Vim superpowers are going up because I'm now using it again. We're getting there. What's up, G Billingsley? Good to see you. EQ Explore. What's up, Black Eagle? You here again live, catching us live. Good to see you. What's up, Burning JC? Let's see. Lost connections in Horizon last night. Oh, that's, you know, hey, that's fair. That's very fair. You know, that is a good question. When is, you know, when is first, really? Like if we get offline, if you immediately comment, are you now first? It's a good question, you know? It's a good question. Did you ever cross route from x86-64 to ARM? Did it today, not fun. I've never done that. Never needed to do that. I hope that I never need to do that. That sounds like a pretty interesting thing. But tonight, we're going to be hopping into object-oriented programming. Fun stuff, kind of. To be honest with you, I'm not a huge fan of OOP, to be 100% honest. It's fine. It's completely fine. I understand how to use it. It is great in a lot of situations. It provides for some really fun stuff. But, you know, it'll be exciting. So we're going to dive into it. So tonight we're going to be heavily into Python, if not 100% in Python. We will take our time. We'll go through the things that we have in there. And we'll focus on the concept. So again, this is going to be a focus on the concepts type of night. I'm going to present some things about object-oriented programming to you that you don't necessarily need to master right now. We'll get the simple stuff down today, and we'll dive deeper into the more complicated sides of it on Thursday. But it should be, you know, it should be all good. Tonight, I really do want you to focus on these things conceptually, and as we're implementing things, really try to pay attention and just wrap your head around what's happening, because object-oriented programming can be very, very confusing. It can be very confusing, to be honest. It can take some people, you know, it just makes perfect sense and they love to program this way because it just kind of fits in the way that their brains think. Other people, it's not so straightforward in the way that this stuff happens. So definitely focus on the concepts tonight. You leave a mastermind tab open. That is the thing to do. So yeah, so even it's amazing. You got to make it through the whole thing. All right, Charmaine, you got to make it through the entire thing. And at the very end, I'm quizzing particularly you, only you at the end, and we won't get off of the stream until you get a question right. It's Mainzy. All right, you're the only person that matters tonight. Just you. You must be here, or else we'll never, like, if you're not here when we ask you the questions, then we can't get off. So make sure you're here, or everyone's gonna be really mad at you. And I know where you live, so I will leak your address. No problem. Won't hurt me at all to do so. So I will leak your address to just make sure you are able to answer the question, so I know you're paying attention. She's not interested in tech at all, I don't think. That's why it's even gonna be better. She knows she showed up, so she's gonna have to answer. And she's not responding, so I hope she's in chat. I might have to give her a text to let her know that she's in charge of everyone's night, to be 100% honest. All right, so what we are gonna do is let's get started a little bit here. Let me switch over. And we're gonna hop right in. We actually don't have too many slides this evening. We just got a little bit to kind of get us understanding what object-oriented programming is. I think what's interesting about OOP is that conceptually it is not that difficult to understand what it is. or why you might want to use it. It's much harder to learn how to implement it and just to practice with it and then do the things that you want to do with it. It takes a little bit of time and a little bit of work to do so. I think I did already update the slides command, so I think you can do that. But yeah, yes, we are we are in fact in this class. We are going to be declaring classes today for the first time. Ooh, that coffee's not great, but it's also not bad, and it's hitting the spot at the perfect time. Let me make sure everyone can get it. Let's go ahead and remove this one, but the anyone with the link should work. Does that match the one that I gave you all? Let's see. Let me do a slides edit just to confirm. Edit, exclamation point, slides. All right, we're at about a 85% accuracy rating. We need to make a key accuracy counter or something. Slides. Oh, Baby Watch, execute. Baby Watch is fine. We definitely, we're definitely closer than we originally thought. We're pretty sure, but we'll see. We'll see. I think we're guesstimating late. It was the due date was supposed to be mid to late March. Originally, we were told March 24th. Then they did some measurements and they said it was around March 17th, March 18th. After doing some measurements, they thought we were a little farther along than we originally thought. But now we actually think it's going to be a little bit earlier. So we'll see. We'll see. It's becoming more real by the day. Like I didn't realize. I'm not joking. On Sunday, I didn't really realize it was Valentine's Day. To be 100% honest, I was like, man, we are almost. We're halfway through February. Problematic, but it's all good. We're doing pretty good. What's up, Mr. Demon Wolf? How you doing today? It's good to see you. But yeah. Typo on hardware about me. It says Audi Technica. We're off brand over here, EQ Explorer. That's exactly what we have. We have a little bit of Audi Technica and not Audio Technica. And honestly, that's not even what I have. I don't have any Audio Technica gear anymore. So that sounds like it is out of date as well. Let me go see that. Let me go see it. Let me click in here real quick. See how off. I want to see how off my hardware section is. Yeah, this is way wrong. Way wrong. But you know what? Hold on. This is so the streaming rig no longer has a 5800X, it has a 5950. Everything else about it is right. The development PC is no longer the Surface laptop. It's actually it went from a Surface laptop. I returned it to get a Surface Pro because it fit on the desk a little bit better. So that's wrong. And yeah, even the mic is different. The kit lens on the Sony camera is wrong. One of the capture cards is wrong because we're no longer using an iPad. One day we'll update it. It's all good. I made too many changes too fast, but we'll get through it. So on February 28th, 2 p.m. Twitch baby shower. Correct. You are correct. Let me, oh man, where can I get the image from? I have we made a little thing for it. It's going to be here. I know everyone's like, whoa, that's kind of weird. It's going to be fun. We are doing an old wives' tale. We're testing out all the old wives' tales about how you determine the gender of a child. Everyone's making their guesses. We will make this interactive. We will go through a bunch of them. It'll be very, very scientific. If you want to come through, if you want to meet Mrs. Mastermind, if you want to, make your guesses at what it will be. I think we are going to reveal the gender at the end as well. We're just going to have a little bit of fun. We didn't really feel like dealing with struggling over Zoom with all of the older folks of the family and people not quiet in their mic and having to interact with too many people at once. We just wanted to put on a show and have a good time together. It's gonna be a time where we're having fun together, but we're letting you kind of join in. But yeah, it'll be on the 28th. It'll be pretty fun. Also, I'm trying to make some stuff for it now. It's kind of just coming together now. But at the end of the boot camp, so the boot camps finish up on the 26th, on the 27th, on that Saturday morning, we'll be doing a little chat roundtable with a few heavy hitters in the industry. You guys hear me talk about Fearless all the time, but we're gonna be bringing on some the CEO and a couple other people, engineers, things from that company to answer your questions about tech, understanding. It's gonna be cool. I'm gonna make a little teaser video for it as well. But it's been pretty fun. So mark your calendar. I think that'll be a special Saturday event. If you want to come hear some cool things and interact and really possibly get to know, work your way into a company as well. It'll be pretty fun. It'll be pretty dope. We hired us at 39 weeks. He came a week early from his due date. Yeah. I mean, we'll definitely see. Definitely, she's definitely like carrying low now. It's like the baby's dropped. It seems like the baby has dropped. I had to look up what all that meant. It feels that way. So we'll see what happens. My prediction is interrupted by Brexit. Yeah, I mean, yes, I just learned what that was the other day. So I'm over here just figuring it out. I'm on alert. I'm ready. I'm here. It is what it is. We'll be all right. All right. So tonight is the intro to object-oriented programming. Are you down with OOP? I hope so, as opposed to OPP, which I hope you are not down with, because we don't want to promote that here, but it is a great song. Okay, it's a good song. Cool. I'd rather you be down with OOP than OPP. So let's do this. Object-oriented programming. Well, we can't talk about what object-oriented programming is if we don't know what objects are. What's up, Arcadius? What's up, Aban? How's everybody doing today? Well, what are objects? And this is straight from Google. An object is simply a collection. So that's really good. A collection of data, properties, attributes, and methods that can act on that data or on those pieces of data. Let's break that down. Yes, OPP is something bad. OPP, there's a song, older song. Head over to YouTube and listen to it if you'd like. But OPP is other people's property. All right, there you go. Taught you something new today. OOP is what we care about. Object-oriented programming. We're not promoting. We're not promoting that. And yes, is that the right grammar? Those data, I don't know. I pulled it from Google, but the Google result was probably from Wikipedia. I believe it might be, because it's probably supposed to be that data, but maybe because it's plural, dati or datum. I'm making up all the words that we're saying right now. I think data is already plural, but I don't know. But an object. Okay, so object. It's kind of a singular entity, and what they put right here is that it's a collection. That is a very helpful piece here. It's a collection of data. Okay, so it's more than one piece of data. That's the first thing you should pop into your head, is that it's a collection of multiple different pieces of data. And some of that stuff is called properties and attributes. We're going to talk about what properties and attributes are. Think variables. I put variables in parentheses. And those methods. Methods are simply functions, and we're going to talk about methods a little bit more as well. And these functions act specifically upon the data that is a part of these objects. All right, that's what make methods different from normal functions. They act specifically on the data that is a part of the objects that we're creating. Okay. All right, it'll make a little bit more sense as we get a little bit farther. Okay, OPP, I see the meaning. Yeah, yep, not great. It is what it is. I think data is plural, datum is singular. Ooh, I did not know that. I did not know that, Laylar. I mean, maybe I did. I probably did, but did not remember which one was which. I know I've heard the word datum before. Didn't know if it was wrong or not. So we just threw it out there. What's up, Anacodes? How you doing tonight? Hope you're doing well. All right, so if we now have an idea of what objects are, don't sweat it. We'll dive deeper into it. But if we now have an idea of what an object is, what is object-oriented programming? Well, a lot of words here. Also pulled direct from Google, because I want to give you the goods. I want to give you exactly what it is from the horse's mouth, and then we do our best to break it down. Object-oriented programming is a programming paradigm. So it's a way of programming. It is not a specific technology or anything like that. It is a way of programming. It's a programming paradigm based on the concept of objects. So the things that we were just talking about, those collections of data, which can contain data in the form of fields and code in the form of procedures. A feature of objects is an object's procedures can access and often modify the data fields in the object which they're associated. So that last section there is talking about the methods and the functions that are inside of it, saying that it can modify and update and change the data that is a part of those objects. So object-oriented programming is simply a coding practice, a paradigm of coding that allows you to utilize objects to do the things that you need to do. Okay, so just utilizing these collections of data to do the things that you need to do. And once we're gonna get into some of this tonight. It's again hard to master. I think it's easy to understand once we start getting hands-on, understanding what it is, but difficult to master to do right because the way the data moves and the way that you have to construct things can be a little bit confusing depending on the way that you think. Can everything be an object? Yeah, just about everything can be an object. Yeah, you'd be surprised. Everything, I mean, yes, everything in Python, everything is an object. Everything that you would touch is an object. There's some tiny caveats there, but yeah. Um, Data got really popular when Data Star Trek. Correct. It used to be pronounced data, data. I'm not saying data. I'm not saying data. I'm saying data till the data I die. Oh, the dad jokes coming in hot already. Till the data I die is how long I'll be saying the term data. Okay, so that's what it is. So if there's just one way to program, what are the other ways? Great questions. A great question there. So there are um usually the inverse, and it's not really the inverse. The usually when people talk about object-oriented programming, the other way they speak of programming is functional, where instead of centering around objects, you center everything around functions. There is purely procedural programming where you just do things in order. Most of the things that we do, like in Go, is not, it is a classless language. It actually doesn't have any classes, so it is not inherent. It's not object oriented at all. But you can a lot of languages you can implement some type of object oriented paradigm, but a lot of languages aren't object oriented. But there are a lot of cool ones as well. But yeah, you can have declarative programming. You can have this procedural programming where it does exactly what you tell it to do, kind of like scripting, kind of like bash scripting. And again, like functional. There's a bunch of different paradigms of programming, but object oriented programming is very popular, especially with this. Another language which you can do this with is both Java. You can do this with Java. You can do this with JavaScript. JavaScript is another really big object-oriented programming language. So it is a big thing, okay? It's a really big thing that people practice pretty often. It's very, very important that you, at the very least, understand the concepts of what these things are. And so when you run into them, you won't be crazy confused. But it can be. It took me longer than I feel like it should have taken me to understand what was going on here. Okay, super odd here. Yeah, Java, C++. Yes, the two big OOP languages. I would actually argue that now those two big ones are Python. Yeah, Python and JavaScript now. That Java and C++ for sure still absolutely up there, but I think in today's language, today's hot popular languages, I feel like the ones that people are getting introduced to very, very often are both Python and JavaScript. C++ and C# are the same. No, they're not the same. Great question, Black Eagle. So the C++, we learned about incrementers here. So the plus plus, so there's C, there's a programming language C that most things are based off of. C++ is, hey, add one. It's one version better. A plus plus means add one to this thing. C#, if you look at it, it's actually four pluses, okay? It's actually C+++++. So it's kind of a double entendre there. They're saying C#, like it's really good, it's sharp, it's a really cool language, but they're also saying it's one up on C++. That's what it's supposed to be. C++++. So it's up two from C, I guess. But they are different languages. No, OOP is not OOP is not the opposite of functional. Usually people talk about OOP or functional languages. I think those are the two biggest kind of mainstream paradigms. They're not opposite. Definitely not opposite. It's just usually when people talk about one, they'll bring up the other, or very, very often, not usually, but very often. I would say Go is not an OP language. Can you explain why? It's simply because it does not utilize objects to do what it needs to do. You can create object-like data, though. You can create your own data types. You can create structures. So you can create structs, and in utilizing those structs, you can also create what essentially is a method. You can create functions with which act upon those structs as well. So yeah, I mean, it simply does not bottle these things up into classes. The way that it implements these things is not via classes, and we're gonna learn about classes tonight. But again, like I said, you'll see after we learn about these things, when we dive into Go and I show you how you can get an OOP like paradigm, you'll see that it can feel pretty much like the things that you'll see in Python, but I like it. I like it. Okay. In JavaScript, everything is a terrible mistake. I'm not gonna say that out loud, but I will say that I agree a little bit. What's up, No Coffee? Thank you for the follow. So I will drink some coffee. Fireblade as well. Boo Juju, welcome to the channel. What's up, Dulce? Dulcet Waves. I'll go with that. What's up, Echo? Sorry I missed you all. What's up, Lemon? Good to see you. Joe Love, welcome. Mondo. What's up, Risible Man? I love it. EUU. Tesmo, good to have you all here. Welcome to the channel. Thank you all so much for the follows. All right, so we know what objects are. Object-oriented programming is simply programming oriented around those objects, okay? So really focused on everything being an object. All right, so how do we create these objects? How do we implement these things in our own code? You've probably dealt with them plenty of times, especially because we've already written Python, so you 100% have dealt with you've dealt with classes, but you didn't know what you were doing yet. But you haven't created your own classes. You haven't learned how to get these things together. But what are they? All a class is, it's simply the blueprint for the object. Okay, I bet you expected a lot of words here. You don't need a lot of words here. A class is simply a blueprint for what that object, not only what it looks like, but what it can do. All right, so you lay it out. You lay it out on the table, and it has what this thing looks like. What are the attributes? What are the variables that are involved? What can it do? What kind of functions are associated with this class? Okay, that is all it is. All right, a class is a fancy struct. If you're familiar with Go, exactly. It is simply a fancy struct, but just a blueprint. Don't need to go too far with it because classes can be intimidating. It is a blueprint for what your object looks like and what it does. All right. That's the only piece we're going to learn. We're going to dive into the individual pieces. There are things like attributes. There are things, again, like methods, and we're going to dive into those. I want you to see those along with code. I didn't want to give you those without code. We're going to dive into the anatomy of a class, and we're going to get those things all set up. So here's where things are going to get a bit confusing. All right. We've already talked to everything we need to know about objects and object-oriented programming as a concept. We've also talked about classes. You now know it's just a blueprint. So we're going to be able to create some blueprints, and then we're going to use those blueprints to be able to do what we need to do a little bit later. But there are some pillars of the paradigm of object-oriented programming. So whenever something is a paradigm, that means it's filled with a bunch of there's a bunch of concepts that you need to understand to be able to implement. There's no finite way for me to tell you how to do these things. The goal is to understand what these things are conceptually, and for us to go through and use them. We're going to talk to these first. We're going to touch on them. Don't get too caught up on what they are. Two of them I think are very complicated to understand. Two of them not so much. I'll do my best to explain them, but again, all of this I think makes more sense in code, and so we'll get there for sure. So 4 pillars of object-oriented programming. Encapsulation. So this is where the big words come into play. Encapsulation describes the idea of wrapping data. So we know that these objects, it's already a collection of data. And so encapsulation is talking about the practice of wrapping the data, and methods. What are methods again? Those are those functions that are part of that class blueprint. Okay, they're functions that can act upon a class. but wrapping those data and methods that work on data within one unit. So wrapping those things up, encapsulating them up into one unit. This puts restrictions on accessing variables and methods directly and can prevent the accidental modification of data. All right. A lot of this is not going to make a ton of sense until we get hands-on. But what encapsulation allows you to do, it is a paradigm of programming. It's a way of structuring your code to where you are wrapping things up and you're putting things together, and you're think like a little pill capsule, and you're putting the stuff in there into one little unit so that it is isolated, and you're preventing things from accidentally overwriting those things because it's all bottled up into this one little wrapped up piece. Okay, encapsulation. We will dive into encapsulation. That is what it is. All right, this is one of the 4 pillars. What's up, Finchin? How are you doing today? What's up, Soup Hibby? Welcome to the channel. Thank you so much, Latero, for hosting. I do appreciate it as well. So that's 1 of 4. All right. Probably the second easiest of the 4. The next one's probably the easiest. So abstraction. What's up, No Name? Good to see you today. Abstraction. What is abstraction? It means hiding the complexity and only showing the essential features of an object, so specifically of that object. So in a way, abstraction means hiding the real implementation, and we as a user knowing only how to use it. A real world example will be a vehicle that we drive without caring to know what all is going underneath it. People always use the vehicle example. This came straight off of Google. And so it really is like a vehicle though. So imagine you are building your code for either yourself or others to use. And abstraction is taking all of the complicated pieces, all of the underlying infrastructure and setup for the way that something is done, and bottling it up and hiding it away behind a comfortable interface. Okay, so people don't really care what's going on in the background. They just want to be able to use it. All right, all they want to do is be able to use it. And a car is a perfect example of this. It's overused, but it's a perfect example. You purchase a car, you do not care. You might care what engine's in it. You might care how powerful it is, maybe. You might care about some of that stuff, but most people have no idea how their car works. Most people have zero idea, and they don't need to. The interface that's been given to them to make their car work is simply to get in, to sit in the seat, and to put their hands on the steering wheel, start it up, and to press 2 pedals, usually 2 pedals, a gas pedal, a brake pedal. That's all you need to know to be able to operate this car. The operation of this thing is abstracted completely away from you. You never realize that that it all starts with air, and that air needs to be sucked into a filter and then into the engine, and that air needs to mix perfectly. It needs to be atomized and mixed perfectly with gasoline, and the gasoline needs to be put right into a piston chamber, with the perfect ratio, and then the piston needs to be moved upwards and ignited so that it can be pushed back down, and it needs to happen on all cylinders so that it can in turn turn a crankshaft, and that crankshaft can then in turn power the flywheel, and that flywheel can in turn power the drive shaft, which goes down to the wheels and propels you forward. You don't know about any of that stuff. You don't care about any of that stuff. All you know, the interface that's been given to you is the gas pedal. Okay, when you press that gas pedal, a bunch of complicated stuff happens under the hood. Your car moves forward. That's all you care about. This is a way, abstraction is a way we can do this with our code as well. We can create things that do some pretty complex stuff. And you've seen this. You've used some fancy functions in classes like the append method or like the upcase method and things like that, where a lot of the underlying things have been abstracted away from you to where you get this nice simple interface where you can pass in just a few things, and now some cool stuff happens. So this is abstraction, and object-oriented programming allows you to do this very, very easily. So yeah. So would this be a GUI? Yeah, I mean, oftentimes a GUI is doing a lot of abstraction. It is taking the complicated things away from you. Yeah, could be. Hide it under the hood, to continue the car analogy. Yeah. Just hiding it under the hood. People not caring about the complexities, just a nice, easy interface. You can ask the unrelated code and math question. I'll do my best to answer it, but hopefully someone else will know it, because I probably won't, but ask away. So as a manual driver, what I'm hearing is is that less abstraction is better. So Penguins Airlines is someone who also prefers to drive manual cars. I do agree with you. Less abstraction can be better. I wouldn't say is better, but I would say can be better, depending on who you are, depending on what you're doing. You know, if I was driving a semi truck that had 16 gears, maybe I want a little abstraction. Maybe I don't want to shift that many gears. So I wasn't planning on covering solid. Well, we might cover it on Wednesday. We're doing OP all week, so we might cover it on Wednesday. Abstraction means only one, two, right? I'm not sure what that means. As a coder, abstraction is my favorite thing. I agree. Ooh, I saw we had a little internet drop there for a second, but it's back up. That was weird. It dropped way down, then it spiked way up, and now it's good. Man, you're 13 to 16 and only just joined. It's all good. They're not all on YouTube, but most of them are on YouTube. If you hit exclamation point YouTube, we do these over and over again. So for everyone new, the way that it works is we're doing this 8 weeks now. These are the beginner sessions. We'll do a bunch of different stuff in between. So the month of March, we'll lighten it up a bit, and we'll do a couple of more specific things. We won't do any boot camps, but we'll do things like Docker, Kubernetes, Linux specifically, things like that. But we'll start up with the intermediate courses starting in April. So there'll be 8 weeks of the intermediate courses in April, then a month of more chill stuff, and then we'll do the more advanced classes later on. So yeah, there you go. All right, so that is abstraction, which I think is the easiest to understand. Second easiest, I don't know, maybe easiest. Inheritance is another one. Inheritance allows us to define a class, so to be able to create these blueprints that we were talking about. But we're allowed to create one that inherits, okay, all of the methods and properties from another class. So we can create one class that does some cool things, its own blueprint, and then we can basically create a new class that imports all of the same blueprints from this thing that we can use to kind of extend it further if we'd like. This is a pretty common practice to do. The parent class is the class that's being inherited. So the very first class that you create for all of this, the one that's you originally initialize all these things with and create all these attributes with, is the parent class. And the one that you're bringing it into is the child class, okay? So it inherits everything from the parent class. Pretty cool. We will definitely do some inheritance, probably not today, maybe today. If not today, for sure on Wednesday, because this is a pretty important topic and you will dive into it a bit. You kind of get a lot of abstraction by default. We probably won't do anything crazy complicated, but we might. And encapsulation, we will probably privatize some things. We'll probably dive into a little bit of encapsulation as well. Last one's polymorphism. I doubt we'll do a lot with polymorphism. Polymorphism is somewhat of a complicated item here, okay? Polymorphism, I find to be confusing. I've implemented it a number of times, and I still feel like every time if I ever have to do it, I feel like every time I'll have to play mind games a little bit with myself and have to rethink through and try to figure out exactly what's making sense. I think polymorphism is hard to handle, to like mentally jump through. But I think it's a pretty simple concept. But it means different types respond to the same function. Okay, poly means many, and so many forms basically. Polymorphism kind of means many forms. So a lot of times this is implemented with inheritance, along with inheritance. And basically it kind of makes it so that, imagine another example people will usually use for this is, let's say you have a collection of animals. Maybe animals is a class, and animals is, has certain attributes and stuff, but maybe you've now created some other subclasses from animal, which are things like, you might have a dog, which has different attributes and things from a cat, which has different attributes and things from a lion, and things like that. So you have this big class of animals, and then you have these individual subclasses, these child classes, which have all the parameters of animals. They're all animals. You can create code to where you can have the same attributes or the same methods that will respond differently based on what those subclasses are. So although they're all animals, you can call basically an animal, and if it is of type dog and you tell it to make a sound, it will, it'll respond with a bark, whereas the cat will respond with a meow. Even though they're kind of a part of the same base class, it can be very confusing. We will definitely implement some polymorphism to try to drive it home. I think polymorphism is a little bit of an advanced topic. It's something that I think we'll dive into a little bit more in the intermediate class. But yeah, it allows basically different inputs to be able to respond to using the same functions to get different answers out of it. It's pretty interesting. Different forms, you change it up. It's pretty interesting. We'll do an example because it is hard to explain. But definitely the most complicated of all of the pillars to me. And again, usually polymorphism done best is in conjunction with inheritance. I've seen it done without it. Which was very confusing to me. I still don't really fully understand to this day how it really worked. I saw it done in a talk, and they might have been pulling, the wool over my eyes. It may have been fake, and not really have been true polymorphism. But it's pretty confusing. Let's see, which languages are we going to be using? We're going to be using Python today. But yeah, we're using Python today, but we usually use Go for most of the stuff. Do you have a link? I'm a comp sci grad and love getting this recap. Exclamation point YouTube will get you the link for the YouTube channels. YouTube. There we go. Yeah, polymorphism, pain in the ass. I agree. It's good to hear someone else say that, Red. It's good to, for someone who does not like it, it's good to hear someone else say that as well. And like I said, we'll use Python tonight because we've been using Python and Go, and Python is an object-oriented programming language, whereas Go is not. Is it acceptance of different data types or a function that can handle any number of past inputs? It's more so the acceptance of different data types. Usually, those different data types are different classes, rather than data, even though those do become data types. But it's more so the acceptance of different classes. Rather than a data type or number of inputs. I don't understand the difference between polymorphism and inheritance. Seems very similar. Yeah, like I said, Black Eagle, you'll usually use inheritance to perform polymorphism. It'll make. I think it's one of those things that makes a little bit more sense as you get into it. Inheritance is simply taking data from another class. It's taking a parent class and taking on those attributes, taking on those methods, so that they can be used in another class. Polymorphism isn't necessarily that. It's not about being able to use and access those things in another class. It's about being able to perform a function or action against different classes and receive outputs based on what you're passing in. My dog is programmed to bark. I might program him to meow instead if I choose. That you could do that if you would like to do that. So, huge difference between Python and the C languages. I want to follow along, but I'm not familiar with Python. So yes, there is a big difference between them, but conceptually there's not. These concepts apply across the board. Like, this is not Python OOP. This is object. These are the pillars of object-oriented programming. Period. Not of Python in particular. So the classes are going to feel way different, and so the way that you initialize things is going to feel way different. But the concepts should be transferable from what we're doing. Easiest polymorphism example that helped me was thinking of adding two things together. If you have a function and pass in two inputs, and you can add them, but if you pass two strings, you concatenate. That's very interesting. I never ever thought about that as polymorphism. That is very interesting. That's very true. So in Python, this doesn't happen in Go, but in Python, you all have seen that if you do some arithmetic operations on strings, it will concatenate them. It will add them together. Even though this is an arithmetic operator that is designed to add two numbers together, it will. The interface for that will change it to concatenation. That is pretty interesting. That's very, very helpful. I like that. I like that a lot. My CS polymorphism example would be streams. You write a string to a stream and don't care at that point, whether it's going to be a file to a socket or a COM port or whatever, that's true. That's good as well. Those are helpful. Definitely helpful. Okay, so let's hop in and let's start to break this down and see what it looks like. If you need a little bit of assistance to reference things, we're going to touch on all these things. But again, W3 Schools is always the great place to go. Just for reference, I love using W3 Schools for reference. I love reference material. Because I don't actively remember how to do a lot of these things, I use references all the time. Again, I like to learn big, I like to learn conceptually, and then I'll look it up when I need it. But if we do go here, there is a section in here somewhere for class and objects. I will share this with you in case you want to follow along, and we can reference this for a few things. I can show you some stuff that maybe we'll miss some things, and they'll tell us about it on here. But I'm gonna get logged in over here really fast into my Linode instance. Also, everyone new, let's go ahead and update. That's fine. I will make this larger. Don't sweat it. Nope, that's not where we want to go. That is not the one. R, SSH, R, not SSG, SSH. No. H. Everyone who's new, I'm a bad typist. I'm a terrible typist. And I actually can't see. There we go. I actually can't see my keyboard keys on my keyboard, so I'm really struggling. I can't see the letters and stuff. So you'll see me mess up a lot. You probably get frustrated with me, but I don't care. I don't care at all. It'll just be what it is. Make it larger and larger and larger and larger and larger and larger and larger. All right, let's hop in here and let's go into today's deCoded, right? deCoded. No. We made another directory for this, right? deCoded. Okay, here we go. deCoded Q1 2021. Let's go ahead and let's make a directory. MK dir week was the 7. I'm terrible with the number keys. Week 7. Let's go ahead and go in there. And let's go ahead and let's start this up in week 7. We're going to create a file. We're going to create our first class, and we'll start to learn the different pieces. We'll talk about the anatomy of these things, and we'll dive into what each of these things is. Why can't you see them? Oh, I can't see them, silly boy, simply because of the lighting in the room combined with the type of keycaps that I got. They are not they don't allow for backlight shine through, and so they're dark gray keycaps with black lettering, so I cannot see them. I can't see them. I can't see them at all. So yeah, it's been both good and bad. I'm already a better typist, a better touch typist, but I still, you all scare me. Okay, I love you all, but for some reason I get stage fright when typing in front of you all. So I struggle a little bit. So we're gonna go ahead and we are going to add a new file here. I'm going to call this file, let's call it op.py. You can call it whatever you want. Open up your favorite text editor, hop into it, and have a good time with it. HHKB with, so JBs. The keyboard that I built, the keyboards that I use, I have 2 custom built keyboards that I use. The layout I have is as a Sangan layout, which is basically the HHKB layout, but with Windows keys. And I really like it a lot. So the backspace is swapped with the buttons above it, which is super helpful. And I also have my modifier key kind of over there on the right, so it makes my arrows pretty easy to use. So yeah, it's nice. Yeah, I'm a decent typist. If I can look at the keyboard, I'm learning how to be a better touch typist, and so I'm forcing my way into it. 204 no content. So I'm not a software engineer. As everyone knew, I'm not a software engineer. My background is infrastructure and DevOps. So on here, we do both a cloud computing stream and an infrastructure DevOps stream. So Mondays and Wednesdays is the infrastructure DevOps SRE type of courses, software today, cloud computing on Fridays. And so that is my background. But I've led software teams I've dealt with software for a long time, or I've been software adjacent for a very long time, so comfortable with it. Certainly not an expert software developer at all. So it's actually something that I'm spending a ton of time on this year. Is I've never spent a significant amount of time solely focused on software, and actually not solely focused, but I'm gonna spend it. I've already done a lot this year. I've already built a fair amount of things this year, but I'm diving into Azure this year because I'm pretty familiar with AWS. Diving into Azure, and I'm spending a lot of time developing some applications that I have in my head. Yes, so Ubuntu Terminal. This is actually the Windows terminal. I'm actually logged into it is the Windows terminal. I do use WSL2, so Windows Subsystem for Linux 2. But I'm logged into a Linode, a remote development environment, a Linode VPS. I like to work remotely because I work off of different computers. So it's kind of nice to have a centralized computer because, I work off of 3 to 4 computers most weeks. So just kind of nice to do that. Did you need your math to get your degree? No, I don't have a degree. And you do need math to get a degree. It does help. Struggling with math. I have not needed to use any significant mathematics skills in my roles, to be 100% honest, but not something I'm saying stay away from, especially if you are going deeper into software engineering. It's actually something that I might spend some time picking back up and diving deeper into, but I actually don't have a degree at all. All right, so OOP.py, I'm going to create it here, and we're going to open it up, and we are going to get started right now. Now, let's create a class first and talk through the pieces, and then I'll make up something for us to create in a second. So the very first thing that we are going to do is create a class. All right. And so the way that you create a class is simply with the class keyword. So the way that you create a function is with the def keyword. To begin creating a class, to begin writing that blueprint, we're going to use the class keyword. You can see it changes colors there for us, and we can set it up right here. And so what's helpful is the structure is very similar to a function. Remember, Python is white space. The way that it sets up scoping is through white space. And so, just using those indentations and stuff is pretty helpful. So class, and then you're gonna give it the name of the class. The name of the class that we're gonna have here is going to be something like, usually it's going to be a capital letter, and usually I think for class names, whereas in Python, I think that function names and variable names are generally supposed to be snake cased. I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not a Python dev, pretty sure in Python, the preferred method for class names is for them to be camel cased. So not Pascal cased, because the first letter is capitalized. So if we want to say, car, everyone does car. A lot of people start off with car. I think it's a good way to kind of understand it. We'll start off with car, and then we'll do something a little bit more complicated in a few minutes. All right. So we're gonna set up a class car, okay? And I never remember if it does it take these, or does it just there's just the name. Let me see. Okay. No, only if you want to accept something in. So we'll talk about that later in a second. But this sets up a class right here, and this now is a valid class. This is valid Python code, okay? The same way that we could set up a function there, a def, it looks exactly like this. So, it pretty simple, not so scary at all, but this will now set up a class. Now, very much like functions. Remember, what do we know about functions? We know that functions, not only they're reusable bits of code, little packaged up bits of code that only run when called. Classes are work in the same manner, but they extend a little bit further. So they do only run when called, but you also, because a class is a blueprint for an object, it's not an object itself. So for us to utilize this blueprint, before we use the class, before we use the object, we have to do something called instantiation. We have to create an instance of the object, and using a blueprint, that's what blueprints are for. You set up those blueprints using those schematics. We can create any number of buildings based off of those schematics. So new house builder, create some blueprints for a structure of a house. They make a couple of different modifications to make a few different styles of houses for a new neighborhood, and they use those 5 or 6 options to build all the houses in that neighborhood. So they're using those blueprints to basically provision any number of things. So once we have the blueprint, we have to create an instance of those things. So we're creating the blueprint for the house. Then we actually have to build the house. If this is a complete class, to instantiate it, we can do it by calling this class and assigning it to a variable. So if we want to say our car, set up a variable called our car, and we can set it equal to car, just like this. So we run the car class. This creates a singular instance of our class. Creates new instance of class car. All right, so I just want to put that in there so you can start to think about this a little bit. Are classes like structures? Yeah, classes are like structs. They are. What's up, Steez? Dog extends animal. Yeah, Def Wolf. You got it, brother. Good to see you, man. Welcome. All right, so right now this won't really do much, and so before we dive deeper into the class, let me just show you what'll happen here. If we do a print, let's see the type. Let's check out the type of our car, because we care about data types, even though we're now doing a loose language, a language that has dynamic typing. Let's see what this looks like here. No right since last change. Oh, ignore that. There's something wrong. There's something wrong with my CSH RC. So I'm gonna run it with Python 3. The stuff that we're gonna be running, I don't think anything that we are going to be running for the next 2 days is going to be Python language specific. Probably works fine with Python 2 or 3. I'll be running with Python 3. But yeah. So if I were to run this file, I run oop.py, it prints out the class and it shows you that the type here is a class. This is an object. And if we were actually going to print this thing out, it would actually give us a kind of a memory address. It might be a little bit confusing to you, but yeah. All right. So let's keep editing this a bit. All right, let's start to add to this thing. Now, I could do things like this. So I'm gonna take off the pass, and in this blueprint, I could begin to provide attributes. I could begin to provide different values for us to be able to utilize throughout this. And so maybe I would want something like this. Car, maybe I would want a make, all right? So the make of the car, we could set to, I'm gonna be honest with you all, you're probably gonna hate on me for this, but I'm a Ford guy. Personally, I've owned a lot of Fords. I currently, both of my cars right now are Fords. My wife's car is a Chevy. We'll fix it. We'll write that next time around. But I'm a Ford guy. So maybe we have a make, which is Ford, and maybe we have a model. Maybe our model, not middle. No. Let's get our fingers correct here. Model. There we go. I disagree. Fix or repair daily. I disagree. I've had nothing but amazing luck. To be honest with you, I've had nothing but amazing luck for all of my. Honestly, the only car I've ever had that caused me lots of issues was my Nissan Maxima. I had a Nissan Maxima. No, I lied to you. I'll take that back. It was my Nissan Maxima. I also did have a Ford Explorer Sport 2-door. Now, it almost killed me. I'm not gonna lie to you, it almost killed me. But I shouldn't have purchased it because I bought it for like $2,300 off of Craigslist, and I shouldn't have purchased it, and I almost died in it. Okay, because I almost died. Only 2 cars that ever caused me any issues, but yeah. All right, so model. We gotta put Mustang in there because no, the Bronco's coming out. Unfortunately, I won't be able to get the Bronco because I just got my truck, but we'll do this. So blah. There was no one in the trunk, but I'm not lying to you. My dad was with me when I tell you this guy. It was summertime. When I tell you we should not have purchased this, the guy we went in his house to like sign the papers. He was like, he had like so much snot running from. He was literally like wiping like giant globs of snot onto his forearm, and then like handing us the paperwork to sign. And me and my dad were looking at each other like, oh my gosh. But we got it anyway. It was disgusting. It was gross. Not gonna lie. pretty pretty interesting. It was gross, but we should have taken that as a sign not to purchase the car. When I say that it almost killed me, it had a pretty serious vibration above like 60 miles an hour, 50, 60 miles an hour. But I've had some suspect cars before this, and they, it's something to expect. At that time for me, it was something to expect. And not joking, luckily this didn't happen on the highway. I went to make a right turn into a shopping center. I made the right turn. Great. When I went to straighten the wheel out, let the wheel straighten out, the steering wheel was free spinning. It had completely disconnected from the steering rack. The steering wheel was completely disconnected from the steering rack. Luckily, I was okay. Luckily, I was able to just stop because I wasn't going very fast. I was turning into it. But like, if that had happened on the highway or something, you just said my prayers, because that I dodged a bullet there. Pretty wild. Got rid of that thing immediately. But it sounds like Ford problems. Again, I bought it with a ton of miles. I've had 4 Fords since then. My 2 current Fords are amazing. My last 2 were never had any issues with either one of them. But yeah, there we go. You need to wait. Oh no, it's not the hard. Oh, gross. Yeah. I mean, you're probably right, blah. I should have been, more resourceful in that manner. Did I lose money on it? Yeah, we lost money on it. Not much though. Not much at all, actually. Yeah, it ran well. I think we sold it for like 17 or 18, to be honest. So, it is what it is. All right, so let's get back to our class here. So class car, make, Ford, model Bronco. So we're starting off with a very basic thing here. So let me separate this right now so that you know that this class is different from these things here. So, yeah, I mean, and you live seems like a deal. I agree. I drove it for over a year, so it's pretty dope. Why did you have the type in the print function? Because I wanted you to see what the type of this was. So we created our car, which is a variable, and we set it to the value of this class. Okay, and I wanted you to see what the data type of it was, and the data type was a class itself. I'm not gonna print it out now. We no longer need to see the type, but type just shows you what the data type is of that variable. But because I'm setting up this class here, what these attributes up here, these are global attributes to the class. The way that we have these set up right now, they're global attributes to the class. They're almost like constants. We didn't talk about constants a lot yet, but they're almost kind of like permanent values here. But if I want to print out one of those, we're going to use the dot notation here. So our car dot make. Okay. If we try to print out our car, which is this variable, and we try to access one of the attributes here using the dot notation dot make, this should give us Ford. Okay, it does in fact give us Ford. So let's look at it again. Let me not do this. Let me not keep doing this. Let me actually vim op.py. And so what do you think it's going to print out if we instead do model? If we instead do model, what do you think we're going to get? We instead are going to get Bronco. Okay, so we can print out Ford and Bronco. So Blah7, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. It's always good to see it. 5 months, I appreciate it. It warms my heart to have you back. You're not only are you our marketing lead, you're our chief morale officer. Getting everyone going. I love it. It's good to have you. I appreciate it. What's up, Don White? Welcome to the channel, farming expert out. One day I'll need to learn a little bit from you because, you boy wants to farm a little bit. I'd love to have a little bit of land and do a little bit of farming, and do some cool stuff. What's up, Daquan? Good to have you as well. Too woke to toke. Welcome, 42. Samson, Natty Science. Hark. Good to have you here. Ellie Shrunk. Good to have you as well. Ro, welcome. Nevert. Finchon. I think I got you all. Welcome to the channel. Good to have you. Yeah, do what you got to do. There are no hall passes here, just don't let so you can take us with you, if you're on your phone or if you're on your laptop, you can take us with you to the bathroom, but just don't tell us where you're taking us to. But yeah, do what you got to do. All right. So this is great. This is exciting, but this isn't what we really want to do with a class. This is, we could just hard code a bunch of values, but we could do that anyway. Okay. We could always change that up. We don't really want this to be a thing here. We want to make this much more dynamic, and we want our classes to be much more dynamic. This is where, this is where things get a little, what I think is complicated for people when they first dive into classes. If you were to dive into a class right now and say, hey, this is pretty simple, that's really nice. Actually, let's add a method really quick. So remember, we talked about a function that could act upon this object data. So maybe we simply just want to create a function here that's called list car. Okay, maybe we got a little function here that's called list car. I'm going to talk to you about this self keyword. I actually don't know if this is going to work, but it should work. I'll talk to you about the self keyword in a second. We got to have it there. And all we're going to do here is we're going to print out car dot make and comma car dot model. All right, so this is a function that we created inside of this class. All right, we created right there inside of the class. All right, let's see what happens now if we instead of calling, one specific item like our car model, what if we call this function? The way that you can call this method is to do list car. Now, if you do list car right here, but it's a function, so make sure you put those parentheses there. All right, so this is our code. All right, this is our code for this. We want to use this list car method. All right, and so you've seen this dot methodology before. You've seen this on dot to upper, dot to lower. So those are little functions that exist inside of that string class. So we're gonna save this and we're gonna run this. All right, so we get Ford Bronco. It prints it out for us. Very, very exciting. Yeah, I didn't need the print. You're right, because we are printing it. We're printing it up here. So we didn't need that. You're correct. But it prints out Ford Bronco. Okay, so you're starting to see that we're having this little piece of code here that's kind of containing the things that we need. This list car function, it doesn't exist anywhere else. I can't just call the list car function. I have to call it within this object. I have to call it against a car object, okay? Very, very exciting. Method is inside a class, function is not in a class, correct. So, they're functions regardless, but these methods, what methods are, yes, it's inside of a class, but it's because this acts upon the data that is inside of that function. So yes, that's what it is. Feather HTML, I don't love it, but some people love it, Oh, so strings. What's really funny about what you just said, a class is much like a Pokemon ball. I was literally thinking, like, as soon as we're diving into this a little bit earlier, I was like, what can we use today to illustrate that? We're going to create some Pokemon. Pokemon is actually Pokemon period. You see that poster right there? That's Pokemon right there. All right, so Pokemon is life. Pokemon is actually a phenomenal way to talk about these things. That's exactly what we're about to do. As soon as we get to this little part right here, we will dive into doing some more tangible stuff with Pokemon. Maybe we'll even make them fight. Okay, got some things going in my head now. It's gonna be pretty exciting. What's up, PGZ1? Good to see you. Supers, welcome to the channel. QM, welcome. Don White, again, welcome. Good to have you all here. So let's keep going with this. Let's get all of the interim stuff out of the way, because we haven't touched all the stuff yet. So this right here, let me put a little let me put something right here. Let's tell you what this is. This is a method. Now this is just so this is a method of the class. We're not gonna dive into it yet, but Python does have things called class methods, which are more like global methods for the class. Don't worry about that right now. You just might run into it at some point. Don't sweat that at all yet. But this is a method. So this is great, but this is, again, we're still not using a class to the maximum power. So right now, this means our car will always be a Ford Bronco. Maybe that's what we want, but maybe not. Maybe it's what we want, but maybe it isn't. I doubt it's what you want. A car should be an object. So if a car is going to be the object, we should be able to make any kind of car we want. A car object should be able to take on any kind of car that we have. So let's talk about that. The first things that we're going to do here is we're going to set up an init function, okay? So, or an init function. So we're going to do def __ init. Okay? What this is this is an initialization function that will run It'll run whenever a class is instantiated, okay? So whenever you instantiate a class, whenever you create a new instance, right here. So okay, our car is one version of car. We can make another one. I can make another one called your car. Called your car that equals car. These are two, this will create two different instances of the object. Remember, we're talking about, this is a blueprint. We're talking about those houses. This is two different houses here. These are two completely different cars right here, okay? These are two completely different things. So this init function will initiate or initialize a bunch of data when you create a new initialization of a function or a new instance of a function. The reason why this is powerful is because this will allow us to be able to define or create attributes right up front and to be able to, pass in data into this thing and set some things up during the initialization phase of this, okay? So how does this work? Well, the very first thing, so again, this is always gonna get executed. The very first thing that this function takes in. So remember, even though it looks weird, even though this underscore init thing looks new to you, don't sweat that. It is still just a function. You know how functions work. You know the functions take in arguments. The very first argument this thing takes in is self, okay? What is self? Self is the current instance of this function. So when we are calling car, it's basically passing in a bunch of data. It's basically passing in data about itself as the very first argument to its own creation, okay? So self is the current instance of this class. All right, so each one, self is going to be different. Okay, self is going to have different information in it. Don't sweat it right now. Just know that it's going to be the first argument that's always passed in to this init function. Okay, self similar to this in JavaScript. Yes, it is. So JavaScript is an object-oriented programming language, and yes, it is. So self is what we're going to pass in first. So you need that there. All right. But we can take in some data. So instead of hard coding these things, and so I could have kept these up here and they would have been global to this class, but generally, you're not always going to want to do that. You might want to do it, but generally you're not always going to want to do that. And so instead, maybe we should take in the make, and maybe we should take in the model. All right. And then maybe we should also take in something like the color. All right. So we can take in a bunch of information. Now, what do we know about functions? We know that functions, when you have this function signature, that you can set the number of arguments. And we also know when this function is called, it must be called with the correct number of arguments. So we can take these in to this init function, but then we got to use them. All right. So once we take them, well, we don't have to use them, but once we take them in, we can use them. So we can save these values, and I can set up self dot make. Okay, so self dot make is a property. It's an attribute of this function. What can I set that to? I can set it equal to what's being passed in. So make gets passed in. I can set it to self dot make, and I can also set it to self dot model. And this is where things do get confusing. So ask away if you're having problems with this piece. I can say self dot model equals model. Okay, great. And then the last thing I can do right here is self dot color equals color. Okay. All right. So now when the class gets instantiated, this information, this will take over immediately. Okay. Let me actually put that there at the end. It'll take over, and these things will get set up when this thing is initialized. Okay. This data will get set. Now, let's say I wanted to still use a list card method instead of doing this how I did it here. I don't need to do anything here. I can simply print, self. Well, it's the same thing that I just did, but I'm not calling the global car here. I can print, self.make, comma self.model if I want, and we'll use color for later. But just want to show you, and now I can save this, and I can run it. Nope, 3 missing positional argument. Okay, so here's the problem. So the reason why that failed, basically said, hey, you said, actually, we need to look back at the error. I want you to be able to see errors. It says, hey, this init function is missing the 3 required positional arguments, okay? I literally just talked about this and then I didn't do it. I need to pass in this data. So when I create an instance of our car needs some data. I need to pass in the make, I need to pass in the model. So my car, I'm gonna say is a Ford. And then I also need to pass in a model. And I have an F350. So I'll say this is the model here. And the color is ruby red, okay? And your car, on the other hand, can be different, okay? So your car instead, well, you know, what kind of cars do you got? Someone throw something out there. What do you got? What are you out there? What are y'all driving out there, huh? You know, whose car am I putting in here today? You car is supposed to be your car. All right, Mazda 3. What all right, cool. Let's do the Mazda 3. I love Mazda 3 is one of my favorite cars. I love the Mazda 3 a lot. So Mazda, it's funny because the Mazda model is just the 3. All right. And what color is that? What color is that Mazda 3? SGT. Tacoma. I love Tacomas as well. M4. Oh, you stunting on us. You're stunting on us with the M4. I love it. We got a white Mazda 3, okay? This is now going to create these things. So if we do an our car list car and we do a, I don't know why I did that, and we do a your car, what I don't know what's happening here. There we go. And we do a your car dot list car here. They're gonna have different values. So take a look at it. Keep an eye on it. Mini Cooper. I love minis. I love it. I love it. Let's see. Civic. Which years? I'm a big fan of Civics as well. I'm actually a fan of most cars. I'm actually a fan of most cars. I know more than I should about a lot of cars. I really do. All right. So when we print that out and we print out my car, we get the Ford F350, and we print out your car, we get the Mazda 3 Penguin Airlines. So these are both of the same type, really. They're part of they're both of class car. They're both cars, but but we've passed different data in there. So this is we're following the structure of data, and we can utilize these things. We can utilize different pieces in here, so we can create more and more different things in here to do some stuff. So right now we just list car. We could change the car's color or something like that. Great. We can do a lot of fun things. You can also, not only can you do that, you can also access pieces of this data and change this data. So right now, if my car color is ruby red, and so if I list out, our car dot, let me just print out, one of the attributes. So if I want to see my car dot, was it color? This is an attribute, okay? Color is an attribute of this. So if I'm looking at our car, I have access to these attributes. And if I look for the color, it's gonna print out ruby red, but I can change that. So it can be ruby red first, but this is just a variable, okay? It is simply a variable. So what I can do here is I can do something like our car dot color is now equal to, maybe I would prefer it to have been something like midnight black. All right. And then if I take this and I print it again, let's see what we're going to get. We're going to get ruby red first, and then we're going to get midnight black. You can, the same way that we would, access the index value in a collection, we can access the attribute value. So our car, which is one instance, we can access that using the dot notation, and we can change the value of anything inside of here, okay? So these are just variables, but they're part of this class. All right, so the way that we would access them is through that equal sign. We're gonna make it make a little bit more sense right now. Just kind of wanted to show you what you could kind of do. There are more things that you could do. We're gonna learn. We're gonna build on it over the week, but it can be pretty confusing. Let's build on it with some Pokemon because I think that'll be a little bit of fun. Yeah, I think it'll be a little bit of fun. All right. So this is our first kind of dumb class. let's go ahead and, let's just play around. We're definitely going to play around with the Pokemon stuff in a second. So there are many more pieces to this. There are constructors. There are a bunch of different stuff. I don't want to dive too deep into those things tonight. I want to get through a fair amount of it this evening. If you go into the W3 Schools stuff, you can find out a little bit more information about the init function. But they're basically going to tell you what I did tell you, that this is just going to get set up when, it gets called when the class is instantiated or initiated, whatever. They put that here, and they kind of have a similar setup to how we have it set up. If you ever forget how to set up some of this stuff, this is a good way, this is a good place to go to be able to see, how do I structure this? How can I create different pieces of it? And they have some examples in the same thing that we just did. They talk a little bit about self here. Again, self references the current initialized values that you are currently operating with. And yeah, there's a bunch of other stuff. If you want to see how to, add things, delete things, we change the value with this. You do get a bunch of those methods to work with if you want to delete stuff. Super helpful, but it's nice. What are the benefits of using a class over a simple function? It's a good question. So one, everything in Python is a class. It is an object anyway. So the way it has a lot of tooling around working with objects, which is one helpful thing. Two, because of the way that objects are packaged up and the way that you can kind of create them, it makes it so that you can do much more advanced mutations of data, and you can track information easier over the course of your application. Maybe I'll try to show you what this looks like. Also data creation, also like the creation of information. We're about to do some stuff with Pokemon. It would be very annoying for you to create this type of data object over and over again manually if you needed to do it. I gotta go. Thanks for the stream. Absolutely, Black Eagle. Good to see you. Thanks for coming through. Look forward to see you tomorrow. Yeah, short answer, encapsulation. Yeah, encapsulation is also a big reason as well. Yeah, organization, but encapsulation. It makes it much easier. But also, not even just encapsulation. And so you can do. Mine just went blank. Hold on. Here we go. We're gonna back it up, and I'm gonna figure out where I was going with it. I'm gonna start saying it again. You can do. Nope, I don't know where I was going with that. I lost it. I lost my train of thought. It'll come back to me in the middle of the next conversation. But yeah, I've been following along my own IDE, and this is actually helpful, man. Absolutely, I'm glad it's helpful, Seed. I've had a lot of issues understanding object-oriented programming in the beginning. All right, so let's do something with Pokemon again. Let's because Pokemon is something I'm passionate about. Let's talk about this real quick. And this is perfect. So I'm going to create a new file called Pokemon.py. All right, here we go. Pokemon. If you're unfamiliar with Pokemon, I'm sorry that you've been living under a rock for the past 20 years, 25 years maybe. Pokemon is not only the greatest anime phenomenon, and people get weird when you call it anime, but and the one of the biggest worldwide anime phenomenons ever to grace this beautiful world. Pokemon, or pocket monsters, are little animals, little monsters that Ash Ketchum, who wanted to be the very best like no one ever was. He wanted to catch them. That was his real test, and to train them was his cause. I want to travel across the land searching far and wide. But these are pocket monsters. They're originally 150 or 151 of them. They used to fight each other and battle each other, but they were very different from each other. So Pokemon was an animal thing, but they had different types. They had different names, different types. So they had fire Pokemon and grass Pokemon and lightning Pokemon, and they had different attributes, different amounts of power, different amounts of health. And they had different attacks. So maybe we were making a game, and they had different attacks that they could use. So they were all very different. Okay, so I think Pokemon is a really good option here for this. Pikachu is a Pokemon. That's all I know. That's okay. That's just enough. To be honest, I'm impressed you can keep your train of thought. Yeah, it took a while to be able to keep my train of thought doing that. Sometimes I don't, sometimes I fail at it, but sometimes I'm pretty good with it. Fun fact: Pokemon is the most profitable media franchise in the world. Exactly, and this is why whenever people tell me, I don't really know much about Pokemon, I'm like, I don't know how, because everyone does. The Gundam fan in me is offended at calling Pokemon an anime. I agree with you. The thing is, I do agree with you. It just is an anime. It just is. But I do agree with you. I am also a Gundam fan. I'm a Gundam fan. I also, no spoilers. I need to watch the last season of Attack on Titan. I need to catch up. That is my favorite anime period of all time. I don't Attack on Titan, the very first episode blew my mind. It sucked me in, and now it's just so good. Like, it's dark. It's dark. Anime is, there's a lot of good animes out there, but I gotta. I don't think anything can top it. Before that though, Death Note was my. Whew, Death Note. Death Note was so good. I loved how smart it was. Like, Death Note was amazing. But yeah. All right, let's do this. So let's create a class for Pokemon. Jujutsu Kaisen. I'll check that out. I've heard good things about Demon Slayer. I'll definitely check it out. I'm relatively new to the anime game. I haven't seen. I've seen a lot of the major ones, but I haven't seen a lot of other stuff, like a lot of the really good ones that people recommend. They're all on my list. I'm hoping that when the baby comes, between my few hours of sleep, that while because I'll be in the house and I'll have some time to kind of not work for a little bit, maybe I can catch up on some of those things. I think might be kind of good. All right. I'm gonna write all these down. I'm gonna grab all these: Fire Force, JoJo. So I've heard interesting things about JoJo. I do like My Hero Academia. I am a fair amount of the way through that. I do like it. Slime, I've heard good things about it. JoJo's, what is it? JoJo's Bizarro Adventure. It looks weird, but I'll try it out. Goblin Slayer, heard good things about that as well, so I'll try it. When you show love for Team Rocket, hey, as I've grown up, I get Team Rocket's jam. I get them. All right, so we're gonna create a class here, and we're gonna call it class Pokemon. Okay, this is gonna be the class that we're gonna use to be able to create some Pokemon. All right. So again, there's 151 Pokemon back there that have different attributes that we may need to think about. So let's set it up and let's get going. So let's do def init __. I was doing so good, and I now lost my place on the keyboard. There we go. All right, and so what does it need? Remember, the very first item that gets taken into here is always. It's never not. It's always self. The very first thing that gets taken in here. And what kind of information do we want? What kind of information will we want from this thing? One, I guess maybe. Are there any global? Well, okay. How much time do we have? Okay, here's what we're gonna try to do. We'll make sure that we get through the creation of a Pokemon, and we'll try out some fun stuff. We're gonna do some exploration as well with this. I'm also gonna try to use this. I think we can get it done to try to create a little fun Pokemon battle program. I think we can. Feels ambitious, but I think we can definitely. I think we might be able to do a little battle program. Now that I'm thinking through it, I'll see what we need. I'm probably tripping, but we'll try it out. So we need the name of the Pokemon. That would help. The type, maybe we don't need a name, but okay, let's do type. So type, and then maybe if we're gonna make a little battle game, maybe we need a list of attacks. Let's attacks is something that we can have as well. HP, I like that. HP, yeah, HP. So HP is hit points, the amount of like health that it has. Sorry, I jumped in. What language are we using? We are using Python. Stamina, okay. Yeah, definitely. So we're not creating the whole game. Ooh, weakness. Let's take off stamina because I don't want to implement anything wild with stamina. Let's throw weakness on there. All right, let's start with this. Let's go with this, and let's have a good time with it. All right. Let's head shape. Oh yeah, we could add all this in. But this is so if you're ever wondering, like this, we can really create a Pokemon battle game. we can really do this. This might be something we have to do long term, but I like this. Is type reserved? It shouldn't be. I don't think type is a reserved word. It might be though. That's actually a great question. I don't know what Python's reserved words are. Let's see. I don't think it is. Yeah, I don't see it here on the list here. But that was a really good question. Really good question there. What's up, NA Adderman? Adderin, welcome to the channel. It's good to have you. What's up, Dr. Scooby? Kevin, good to have you. Real Strunk, welcome. Gerby, welcome to the channel as well. OG Stitch, Joy Time, Feather, it's good to have you all here. Let's see, did I get everyone? PGZ, welcome. I think I got you. What's up, Supers the Swell? Welcome as well. QM, good to have you. Also, C, thank you so much for the follow. Thanks for the love. I appreciate it. All right, so we got class of Pokemon. Class, we got it all set up. And so let's go ahead and set it up with the things that we need. So we're gonna need a lot of self lines here, okay? So we're gonna do self dot. And I'm just gonna take this because I'm a bad typist. Because I'm such a bad typist, let's go ahead and take this and let's just yank this and let's paste it 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times there. Great. And let's go ahead and let's get this set up to how we need it. So the first one is gonna be name. Name is going to be equal to name. So we're going to set it equal to this right here is not what's getting passed in. I can call this whatever I want. So let's say I wanted to call this Pokemon name. I want you to be clear. I want you to understand what the things are that are coming in here. So this right here is the attribute. So Pokemon name would be the attribute, and I'm setting it equal to name. Name is the thing that's getting passed in. Name is the placeholder for the positional parameter, the positional argument that happens right here. Okay, so you could, yes, you can do it for each. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can do it for each for this. I think I've seen that done before. I want to be very explicit right now, but I think you can loop through and pull them, especially if they're going to be of the same name, especially if they're going to be self dot name equals name. I think you can run through and do that. But we're going to go ahead and do it very verbosely. Type. And we're going to do self.attacks equals attacks. And self.hp equals, no, come on, there we go, equals, I got to get better with my special characters because I definitely don't know where those are on the keyboard at all. And weaknesses. I like weakness. We may not use weakness, but we'll see. We'll see if we can implement this. All right, here we go. Why do we need to include attributes in the function? So you don't need to include attributes in the function, but you can have these attributes here, like I said, globally. So maybe something like, maybe if we wanted all of our Pokemon to have 100 HP, we could set HP up here and have a global kind of constant for the class itself and not pass it in here. The reason why we are setting up these attributes is because, remember, all the class is doing is a blueprint for an object. It's a blueprint for a collection of data. And so what's setting these the attributes are the data. The attributes are the data for the class, or the data for the object. Okay, so both the attributes along with the methods or functions are what make up the class. So the reason why you would want to include these is because it's the actual data for the object that we are kind of putting together. And so we're going to grab all those things here so that we can create a bunch of different Pokemon with a bunch of different data values. Okay. So now what we can do is great. So let's just think of a few things that a Pokemon, what would you want to do if we create this Pokemon object? What are some things that we would want us to do or to see? So maybe we want to, let's create some methods to do some things. So maybe we want to, we want to list, we want to print the Pokemon, so catch, okay. Oh, okay. So, so catch Pokemon's good. We can do catch Pokemon, but if we do catch Pokemon, if we do catch Pokemon, I think we should do catch Pokemon, but I think we should have to do that in I think we should create, this should be the first time you're seeing us use two classes. I think we should create another class for for your Pokemon, for your lineup, your Pokemon lineup. I think we should create a class for that. I like that. Is caught being a Boolean, that could work. That's a good one as well. We could do that. Let's start off simply first. Just to get something in here. Maybe we want to, at any given time, maybe we want to print at any given time, maybe we want to print HP. Well, yeah, that might be something that we need to see. We want to know how many hit points are left for the Pokemon. Maybe we just want to see that. So let's create a def for print. We'll just call this one HP. If we want to see the HP for a Pokemon, let's simply print it out, and let's just do a self here. And normally this is a function, so all the function paradigms that we should know do matter here. So if we wanted to get this data out, we would have to return it, but we want to just see it. So we'll just simply put a print here that's going to print out self.hp. Okay, pretty simple. So this is going to allow us to very easily use something. Oh, a Git Status. How about that? Let's actually add in a new status. I like that. I like that. I like that a lot. We're not going to take in the status. Every Pokemon by default is going to be awake. Okay, by default is going to be awake. We can kind of list that here. It doesn't get passed in. We'll just we'll do that. And maybe I like that. Maybe instead of HP, we'll instead do something like get status. Okay, maybe a get status like this. All right. And so what we can do is we can print. Maybe we can print self dot name. And then maybe we can do, what can we do? Let's do a fun little F string here. And let's do a self.name first. And let's do this here and name. And we'll do a HP, which will be self.hp. And then we'll do a status, which will simply be a self.status. All right. I like this. I like this a lot. We're just having a good time here. So let's put in our last item here. So what I just did is a formatted string, which is going to allow it to, print out in a nice little way here, which is helpful. So we've covered string formatting in the past. What I just did was a formatted string for Python 3, at least, using the F string. I'm pretty sure that's how you do it in Python. Can't really remember. What's happening? Let's go back in here. And so let's go ahead, just using this, let's go ahead and create a couple of Pokemon really quick so that we can do some stuff. Let's create a few Pokemon so that we don't have to type out too much for the attacks. I'm just going to put something in real quick. So let's create a few Pokemon. Let's start with the starting Pokemon, okay? So, we'll give them some names. Bulba. All right. Bulba is going to be a Bulbasaur. And we're going to do a Bulba. We're going to do a Squirtle, which is just going to be Squirt. And we're also going to do a Charmander, which is just going to be Char, because, it's got to be that. Char is Charmander. All right, we got our starting Pokemon right here. Let's go ahead and create them using the blueprints that we set out. So we have a blueprint for what a Pokemon looks like and what it can do. So the Pokemon class, we can create an object that has these things, and then we can get the status of a new Pokemon. Is this a new unannounced Pokemon game? Yes, this is. All of this will be announced tomorrow at the Nintendo Direct event. So if you all didn't know about that, Nintendo Direct tomorrow, I think 2 p.m. Eastern time, I think, or maybe 5 p.m. Eastern time. So convert that to your own time zone. I'll be there. I'll be watching. I'm ready for it because they're going to put our Pokemon game that we're creating right now. They will put it on display and it will be available sometime in 2021. But it's a 50-minute event. That's a long Nintendo Direct event. So definitely check it out. And before copyright claims from Game Freak, that is true. Nintendo, They don't like people using their stuff, but it's all right. We'll be okay. So if we're going to create a Bulbasaur, obviously we have to create a Pokemon, okay? And if we're going to create a Pokemon, we have to pass in a lot of data here. The name, the type, the attacks, the HP, and the weakness. So what we're going to do here is we are going to say name is Bulbasaur, okay? This is where my typing is going to come into problems. Master Dark Weaver, thank you so much for gifting the sub to Jimmy McRussell. Jimmy McRussell, you're the fortunate receiver of an amazing sub. No more ads, war on advertisements. Congratulations. Please show some love. Oh, you already did it. Amazing. I appreciate the love there, Master Dark Weaver. Thank you so much for gifting that sub and, helping us out a little bit. I love it. Thank you so much. Latero, thank you so much for the gift. Just the gifted sub train. Amazing. Congratulations. First off, RWX Rob, good to see you. One, let me go ahead and simply give you a shout out. We've headed over to RWX Rob's channel a few times. If you want to learn some real stuff, we're learning a little bit here, but if you want to dive a lot deeper, learn some really in-depth stuff about all kinds of things, head over to please make sure you give RWX Rob a follow. Thank you so much. I do appreciate that, Latero. Also good to see you, RWX Rob. Amame, hype train started. Thank you so much for gifting the sub. Y'all just look at all the passing it forward. I love it. Amazing. I love it. He was Papa Smurf, wasn't he? maybe he was Papa Smurf. I don't know, but I love it. Thank you so much for gifting the subs. I appreciate you. I appreciate everyone. I really do. I appreciate the love, the support. You all always warm my heart. Yeah, there we go, Brendan JC with the Charizard. The Charizard, who's probably the most coveted Pokemon on the planet. I love it. 100%. You can't hate Charizard. You gotta love Charizard, even though he's a little bit of a what you would call, we try not to cuss here, so he was a little bit of a butthole, because Ash didn't have the right badges, didn't really listen, but it's all good. It's all good. Oh, so if y'all don't know, I also have a 30-minute DevOps talk on how Pokemon was the originator of DevOps and how it actually taught us DevOps. One day I will give that for you all. I do love it. So just so you know, Charizard is a part of that. We're talking about over engineering. You don't need to, you don't got the right badges. You don't need to be having a level 86 Charizard. It won't listen. We'll give it. We'll definitely soon. I'll definitely give it. I have it in 3 different versions. I have a 30-minute talk, a 15-minute talk, and I actually have a 5-minute lightning talk for it as well. So we'll do it one day. We'll definitely do it for sure. All right. So Bulbasaur, I think I spelled that wrong. Yeah, there we go. I knew that looked wrong. Thank you. Spelling's not my forte. But okay, so Bulbasaur is the name. The type. Bulbasaur is a grass type Pokemon. Let's see what else we have here. Amame, thank you again. Thank you so much for the 100 bits, for the cheer, for the love. I really do appreciate it. All right, so not only do we have the type here, we also have attack. So, you know what? For attacks, I'm going to put an empty dictionary for now. I'll talk about why it's going to be a dictionary in a second. HP, we'll put 100 HP for everything right now to start off. Weakness, the weakness of grass is fire. Fire is super effective against grass type Pokemon, and so we do have this here. Razor Leaf, exactly. Get a little bit of Vine Whip in there. You got to get all the stuff. We'll put all that there shortly. All right, so we have this. And let's go ahead and take this, and how do I get to the end of the line? Where's my $sign? I don't know where it is. Yeah, there we go. So now I can yank this, and now I can just paste it where I need to paste it. Paste, and let's delete that, and paste. All right, so now we can change inside. So see inside this, and we go to Squirt Amame. The love, you're out here just being all kinds of kind and generous. It's overwhelming, to be 100% honest about me. Thank you so much for gifting the subs to the channel. the war continues. The war wages on against advertisements. Congratulations, everyone. You also get access to some sweet emotes, everybody. So make sure you're using those emotes. I actually have a bunch more emotes coming for you. They're already done. They're already available. I never remember to add them to my Twitch until right now, when it's too late to add them for today's stream. But I have a bunch more emotes as well. Now you got access to them. I love it. Jimmy McRussells, thanks for coming in hot with another 5 gifted subs. That is so much love. We are truly making progress in the war. Thank you so much. The love is there. Congratulations to everyone who did receive one. You know, not having to watch. I really do hate unskippable ads. It's really a problem. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm a hypocrite. I'm 100% a hypocrite. If someone pays me to do an unskippable ad, I will do an unskippable ad. I will not run an unskippable ad. I'll never run an unskippable ad, but I will stand up here and say, get ready for LaCroix sparkling water, the best sparkling water you've ever seen in your life or tasted ever, because they didn't give me a script. So that's all you get right now, LaCroix. I'm not doing anything else for free. We will do all of, we'll do those, but now you guys don't have to watch them. Hype Train, man, I love it. I love it. Amazing. One more gift set. We'll have to give you, oh yeah. So first off, oh no. Wait, is my stream dying? Or did my music just give up? I see. For some reason, well, we're just taking it back now. Hold on. There we go. I just had to change the I think they're trying to listen to some music downstairs. An anonymous cheer, thank you so much for the cheers, for the biddies. I love it. I appreciate it. Shoot your buttholes. I really do appreciate the love. Yeah, the music stopped, and whenever the music stops, I think the stream is done for, even though it is not. Gotta head out for a meeting. Hopefully you have a good meeting. I appreciate you coming through. Go have an amazing night. All right, let's do this. So anonymous cheer, thank you. Another 100 bits from an anonymous cheer. Love, much love. I'm feeling it right here in the heart. It's just on the inside, just warming me up. The room is already a little bit hot. I'm not gonna lie to you. The room's a little warm, so you're making me extra hot in here, but it's okay. That just means we got to finish creating our Pokemon here. So we got Squirtle here, and we can't give Bulbasaur a lowercase thing and not do the same thing here. Squirtle, if you don't know, is of water type, 100, and weakness for water type Latero. Coming in hot. I don't know why y'all are feeling so generous this evening, but I'm more grateful than ever. Thank you so much. We reached to level 5, the hype train. First off, Cthulhu, Billiam, good to see you, man. Shout out to Cthulhu Plus as well. Shout out to Cophobia. It's good to see you all are just in here lurking, having a good time. Watching me create some Pokemon information. You got to create the Pokemon. Pokemon runs the world. If we can, anytime you can loop Pokemon back to the things that you're doing, it'll be a good time. I don't know why this keeps stopping, but yeah, we're on the hype train. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate the love, the support. It's amazing. All right. I won't comment, Amame. I simply just won't. I simply won't comment. Okay. I'm gonna leave it as that. But the weakness to a water type Pokemon is simply a lightning type, okay, or an electric type. Electric Pokemon are strong against water type Pokemon, and then obviously water type Pokemon are effective against fire type Pokemon. Ooh, hey, my typing's kind of it's coming together right now. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, it's coming together a little bit. You can't speak too soon. Charmander. Oh, RMANDE. There we go. Amazing. Thank you so much. Another. Thank you so much for the bits, Noah. I appreciate you. I would like a Pokemon sponsorship. That is absolutely a sponsorship I would love. So if anyone can pass that along to people at Pokemon, at Nintendo, at the Pokemon Company, I'd appreciate it. So we have 3 different Pokemon all created right here. We didn't put in their moves, but we do have 3 different Pokemon. Great. So what we can do here is, let's say we want to get the status. If we wanted to get the status of Squirtle, okay, the way that we would get it is we have a function here. We have a method that exists inside of here is get status. Okay, so we can call that on Squirtle. And so we can call squirt. I don't know why it starts at the bottom. Dot. All right, get status. And this will, because this is one instance of the Pokemon class, it creates an object, and that object has the ability to execute this get status function here. And if we go ahead and we print out Python 3, oh, one day, and we do this, it's going to fail because it has no attribute called name. What do we do wrong here? It looks like self dot name status. Hold on. Where do we mess this up? Oh, it's because I called the Pokemon name up top. Remember, I was trying to show you something, but yeah, Pokemon name up top. And if we run it, check that out. Look at Squirtle's status here. HP 100, status awake, not sleep, not anything else. Charmander is not. So Charmander is the best starter Pokemon to anyone who is, I'm sorry to say this to you, but someone who's new to the franchise, who, if you really want to get through the game with maximum efficiency, Charmander is not the starting Pokemon to use. Obviously, you want to start off with either, if we're talking about red and blue version, you want to start off with either Squirtle or Bulbasaur. Why? Because the very first 2 gym leaders are Brock and Misty. So you do get the Rock. Oh, it's not Brock and Misty, but it's the Rock gym first, I think, and then the Water gym leader second. So you need, if you have a grass type, kills Rock, destroys Rock, easy, and it's also really effective against Water as well. So you got to do what you got to do. You got to do what you got to do, and once you've played through it once, you know that you want to start off with a fire Pokemon, not a fire Pokemon, a Pokemon that is fire, which is Bulbasaur or Squirtle. I'm a fan of Bulbasaur myself, which I know is the least used starting Pokemon. I love it. People do love Blastoise. I'm a fan of those grass types. Yeah, that's fair. 99% of the time, that's very fair. An anonymous share, thank you so much again for another 100 bits. I appreciate it. Steve's, welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for the follow. Come on in. I appreciate y'all. We got another hype. That's love right there. All right, so we can see our status of any of our Pokemon, which is helpful. So now each of these Pokemon has these different factors inside of it. Great. Let's do something. Let's give them some moves really quick. These moves are going to be a dictionary. The reason why they're going to be a dictionary is because I want to give them both values as well as names as well as point value, so we know how much damage it's doing. So every Bulbasaur is going to get 4 moves. They're all going to get tackle because that's what they get. Tackle is going to do how much? How much damage is tackle going to do today? Tackle's going to do 10 damage. All right. And then we're going to do, so they'll all get tackle. Then we will do, all right, let's do this really quick so they all get the same point value so I can just fill this in. We'll do one that gives 20 damage. We'll do one that gives 25. So Pokemon in the game get 4 moves. Only 4 moves at a time, which is helpful. And so we will do 25 there. And then we'll do one that does 30. We'll do one that does 35. All right, there we go. So we'll give it some names real quick. 35. All right, let's give these some. Let me take this. What is it? V inside the curly braces, and I can yank it and paste it. Undo. That was not where I wanted it to be. Let's paste it. And let's go ahead and paste it right here. So now let's give them all different things that they can do. Let's go back in here. tackles this. Let's do a Vine Whip. I don't really care what the moves are. I just want to give them unique moves. Vine Whip. In here, this is going to be Razor Leaf. And this is going to be, what's another, Mr. Combat after 20? Cool, thank you. I will definitely add that in. What's another good grass move? Vine Whip, Razor Leaf, and, what was the beam one? Hyper Beam. Yeah, that works. Hyper Beam. I like that. Hyper Beam. Oh, I need to get better. All right, let's go back and let's add this in. All right. And so we're going to do over here for Squirtle. Let's go ahead and do Water Gun, Solar Beam. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Actually, Water Gun. What do we got? Let's call it Bubble. I don't remember a lot of these moves, to be honest. Bubble, and what was a big water one? Yeah, they're all missing commas. What was a big water move? What was a really big crazy water move? Sure, Surf wasn't that powerful. Hydro Pump. Hydro Pump's a good one. There we go. Hydro Pump here, not Hydro Pimp. Okay, don't mistype it. Hydro Pump is what you want. All right, and then for our fire Pokemon, okay, over here we're gonna get some. We'll get some Flame Wheel going. Over here, we'll also get some. What do we got? Fire Spin. Do I know of Inferno? I don't think I know what that is. Fire Blast. Let's go ahead and Ember. Let's make the 20 Ember. Everyone gets that early on. And over here we'll do Flame Wheel, and we'll also do Fire Blast. Sure. All right. So our Pokemon they got some moves that they can do. Okay. So I wonder if we can list out those moves as well. So maybe we want to see what? Maybe we want to see, oh, wow. Maybe we want to see what moves are available, okay? So that we know how to play with our Pokemon. All right, so let's make a new method here called that's going to print move list. All right, and we're gonna call this def, and we're gonna call it get attacks. All right, and get attacks is just someone's gonna do the same thing so that we know what attacks we have available to us at any given time. All right, might be pretty helpful as we do this later. You can go to jail for playing with Pokemon the wrong way. Hey, I believe it, but we're gonna make sure that it's good to go here. So if we want to get to all of our attacks, how might we see each of these attacks? We could just print it out. Yeah, we could just do that. Or maybe we can just do a for list. I mean a for loop. I don't know why I said for list. Must be getting late, to be honest. But let's just do a for I in. I think you can loop through. Can you do stuff through dictionaries in Python? For I in self dot attacks. I think you can just do this and print. What am I doing? Let's get this down here, and let's go ahead and simply print. Will it print both the key and the value? Do dot items. So so you're saying do it in self that attacks the items for X in iter. So are you calling the iter function, or are you for key and values in a items? Okay, let's see. So you're saying for key, so for K and V in self dot attacks dot items. You're saying calling the items method on that. Is that what we're saying right here? Is that what we're saying? And we're saying go ahead and print K and V. Is that what we're trying to do here? Maybe that's what we're trying to do. What's up, Sully? Good to see you. By default, it iterates over keys, but don't like the lack of verbosity. That's fair. That's very fair. Let's see if this works. No, it does not work because we didn't call it, or let's see what attack Squirtle has. get attacks, and let's see what attack Squirtle has. Boom. Okay, so now we can get the name, we can get the attack. So one, I want you all to start thinking, if you've never built an application before, if you've never done any of this before, you can start to see that we're implementing little tools in this object. So each of these Pokemon have this object, and like they have these things in them that we can use to get information. So if we were creating our own little command line Pokemon game, if you selected that you want to see the attacks, we could call this method at any given time and be able to give you that information if you ever want to see what was available to you, which is super helpful. I do think we're going to build on this and make our own Pokemon game. We might have to switch up the names because I have heard Pokemon being the Pokemon company being very weird about stuff like this. But I think this might be something fun to do as a project to create a full like little Pokemon game. So yeah, we can keep going. So that'll get this stuff. Get attacks, and maybe let's just do one more. Let's do one more where we're actually let's actually do an attack. Okay, so maybe we want to do a def, and let's just call it attack. Or maybe if we're doing get attacks, let's keep it consistent and let's do run attack. And let's do self again. Okay. Let's select one of these and let's basically have you not be able to choose your attack. For right now in the game, let's simply choose a random attack. And so this is actually going to be a little bit weird because of the way that dictionaries work, because dictionaries are not they're not ordered. So I'm gonna try to how do you do this? Let me see. One, I don't want to look this up. I want to do this from memory. So I think there's an import. You can import random. So there's a random library that you can use, which is going to allow us to do some stuff here. And I think for this, you can use random.choice. So let me just save both the attack. I'm going to save the attack name. I'm going to save it equal to self. Actually, I think I want it to be self random dot choice. So I think random dot choice is a thing. Let me look. Python random dot choice. I think dot choice will grab us one if we need it. Let's see. Yeah, I think it'll just grab us one. So if I do random.choice and pass this in, I think it will help me out. I know Google's not doing it from memory. I don't write enough Python to remember what the different methods and stuff are. I simply just don't write enough Python. Random.choice. So we'll pass in self.attacks in here. And it should give us a random item in here, but I think this is going to be a problem. So I actually don't think this is going to work to give us just the key. I think we have to. I think we have to do self.attacks dot keys. No, it won't work. So it will work on a dictionary. It will pull an item, but it won't print out. I only want the attack name for a second. So I think I can perform the dot keys on it. I think dot keys will work. Dot keys, but I think I also have to. I don't think it will work on a dictionary unless I list it instead. I think I have to list it. All right, I think this will work. I think. All right, and then the damage or the attack value. Because I have the attack, because that'll give me the key. I think something like this will give me the key. I'll check in a second, but the damage will, because we already have attack, will simply be not attack. It'll be self. Oh man, self dot attacks, and then the key that will pass in is attack like this, and this will grab the damage instead. And so what we can do is we can say, you attacked. Let's do another F thing here and say you attacked with attack, and it did damage damage. All right, and so we can get a little random identifier there. I hope this works. This might be way off. This was kind of just going off of what I do know about Python. So maybe Squirtle wants to go ahead and do a run attack. Want to run an attack with Squirtle. You attacked with tackle and it did 10 damage. You attack, oh, is it gonna do this every time? Yeah, you attacked with water gun and it did 20 damage. You attacked with a bubble and it did 20. Oh, look at that, you know? Hydro pump, 35, water gun. So this will allow us to select a random, you know, a super random attack. And so this we can do this with both Pokemon. So we can do this with Bulba or all the Pokemon. With this Bulba, real quick, that run attack. And we'll also do this with Char dot run attack. All right. And so they're just going to do some random, you know, this is just showing that they attacked and did a certain amount of damage. Right now, they're not fighting against each other, but hopefully you're starting to see that if we know what random attack happened, we also know how much damage these Pokemon can take because they have hit points, because we can get the status as well. We can start to do some subtracting and things and have a little fun with this. I actually like this. I actually like this a lot. And I actually think I'm going to completely change what we're going to do on Wednesday, because I think this is such a good, I think there's so many different ways we can go with this to build an actual application. My random attacks were this exact same sequence as yours. Interesting. Yeah. Maybe I don't know. Yeah, we should also implement effectiveness. I think what we can do, since next time we don't really have to cover much, I think we also want to do some other stuff. I think we want to create classes for, like, again, create a whole class for your actual team. So in the Pokemon game, there's all the Pokemon you can catch, but you have your own team of Pokemon. You can only have 6 at a time. And so maybe we'll cut it down to like 2 or 3 just to make it a little bit easier. But to create a class that talks about your team and a whole lot of different pieces that we can use. And we can start doing some inheritance and stuff next time. So we learned what classes were tonight. We learned about objects and what object-oriented programming is. But I actually think this is a very valuable, this is good. I like, this is also fun. This is also very fun. And yeah, you can run attack, check for weakness to determine maybe if the other Pokemon is weak to your Pokemon type, you can maybe add a modifier of like at an extra 25% or something like that. And we can actually have these Pokemon battle 2 times the attack value. Yeah, this is great. This is actually really fun. This is good. I think that's what we're going to do on Wednesday. I think I'll structure out what we are going to actually solve so that it's actually a useful game. Because a lot of times, I think last time we built if you want to see some other object-oriented programming that we did last time we went through this, we went to, I'm going to GitHub. We did Jack Black's Blackjack is what we built. So if you're interested in that, you can check that out. I will send you this. If you want to start to look through some other object-oriented programming highlights, and kind of start to get a feel of how you would do something like this. Jack Black's Blackjack is a working blackjack game. If you didn't know, you can, or maybe it's not in here. Maybe it's in Mastermind IO, maybe? No, maybe it's in Mastermind no, it's not an internal Academy. No, well, hold on. Where is it at? Is your GitHub tutorial about available? It's Jimmy McRussell. No, it is not. That's the one. That is the one that we lost. We lost a hard drive. Last time we run it, we've only run it once. We lost a hard drive for it. That is the very first one that we are running in March. So let me look at the dates on. I'm about to put some stuff out about it. On March 1st. On March 1st, we will begin running that one again. So the very first, so March, we're gonna run the Git one track. It's called Tracks. The Git masterclass is gonna be first, and then we'll run that along with the Linux masterclass first, and then we will do the Docker one along with the Terraform one. I can't remember, but yeah. All right, hold on. Where's Jack Black? Yeah, Jack Black's Blackjack. Yeah, if you all don't, we had a lot of fun with this. Me and Terrence actually built this live on stream. It was fun. We ran into a lot of problems, but it was fun. This is it has a whole little story. Like we like to have a little story. I think we'll do the same thing with the Pokemon, and we will take what we have tonight and we will extend this. I'm gonna push this code up. But what are the tangible takeaways for tonight? Because I do have to get out of here. The tangible takeaways for tonight are simply that we are diving into the paradigm of object-oriented programming. We learned that objects are simply a collection of data that we can use, a collection of data attributes and functions that we can use to be able to access and manipulate data in different ways. Object-oriented programming is simply a programming paradigm that surrounds, that is, has a focus on utilizing these objects to transmit, transfer, and to use this data. We learned the way that we can create these objects. We learned everything in Python is an object, but we can create our own objects by utilizing classes. So utilizing classes allows us to set up these collections of data using these attributes that you see here, along with the methods. Methods are simply those functions that can act on those objects to do some cool things like you just saw. We also learned a little bit about the init function, which is going to run whenever a new instance of a class is going to be created. So we can create using those blueprints. That class is simply blueprints for an object. It shows you what it's going to look like and what it can do. Using those blueprints, we can instantiate as many objects based on that as we would like. And so you gotta instantiate the object before you can then use it. All right. So I'm gonna push up this code. It kind of looks weird on here. You might want to look at it in your own editor and kind of see how it looks. We created a Pokemon class with some information. I will have a defined set of things that we're gonna do next time. Again, we will implement, I like that, weaknesses. We'll set it up so that we can basically play a game where we can have Pokemon. We'll probably get a random set of Pokemon. I'll try to set it up where I pass in a bunch of Pokemon data so it's already there. Yeah, and then we can kind of play a game. But I shared that blackjack thing. You can play Jack Black's blackjack if you'd like. Actually, before we leave, we got to play a game of Jack Black's blackjack because it is a functioning game of blackjack. It's one file. This is not how you would normally do it. Oh, actually, what is this? Oh, no. Don't. It's. Hold on. Do we push it to a different? It's in a different branch. Okay. Doesn't crash. We have a branch called doesn't crash. That's terrible. We shouldn't have done that, but whatever. Is there a stream schedule? Yes, Mason Cooley. The stream schedule. I think you can see it below. There's also a Google. Type in !! calendar. That might give you something as well. Yeah, so you can follow the Google Calendar. Mondays and Wednesdays right now are called Pipelines, which is a journey into software delivery, automation, and infrastructure. That's the DevOps and SRE concepts course. Tuesdays and Thursdays right now are this deCoded. Those are software engineering, computer science concepts. Friday is called Horizons, which is a journey into cloud computing with Amazon Web Services currently. And then we do some random stuff, office hours, and it's supposed to be build series on Saturdays, but we've been having a lot of trouble doing those because of things that do come up. Let me see this other branch. Does this work? Is this where we did all of our code? There's definitely code somewhere. Yeah. All right, hold on. I'm about to play this real quick, okay? Because we have to play it. And then I'm gonna push this code. I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna push this code, and then we're gonna get out of here. Let me go back out of this really quick. Actually, let me push the code first because it's already a repo. Whoa. Locotron, welcome to the channel. View Style, welcome as well. Monkey Terminator, welcome to the channel as well. Also, seeing your name. First off, let me just, I'm a bit of a movie connoisseur a little bit. There are almost no good trilogies that exist. No, there are almost no good movie trilogies that exist. The top trilogy, let me know if there's another one that I'm missing out on, is I don't feel strongly about the original Star Wars trilogy, but I do accept that as an answer. To me, the best trilogy, the one that has the most consistency across them, is not The Matrix. It is the newest Planet of the Apes trilogy. And I just watched them the other day. The Lord of the Rings trilogy is not good. It is not good. Lord of the Rings 3 is awful. It is Return of the King, or which one's the third one? The one that's like 6 hours is terrible. Fast and Furious it's not a trilogy. but the first three are actually pretty good. Tokyo Drift, Too Fast, Too Furious, and the regular one is pretty good. But the new so what is it? Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and War for the Planet of the Apes. Got to be consistently the best trilogy out there. I can't. I've seen a lot of movies. And I haven't seen many better trilogies than that. They all the Nolan Batman movies. I will give you that. You're right. That's a good one. That's definitely a good one. Oh no, which one was Michael Jackson? Oh no, not those. Not come on, newer. All right. Godfather was good. Godfather 3 was not great to me. But yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to throw that out there. So let me push this. Git status. Git add. Created a code for for OP, whatever. And let's see if I can see these here. All right, that push. So if you already have that repo, you can grab it. If you don't already have that repo, it is right here. I can share this with you. If you want to pull that code, if you want to mess around with it and create your own stuff. John Wick, that's fair. John Wick's really good. You're right. John Wick's a good one. Thank you for sharing. Okay, John Wick's good. Cobra Kai, I haven't watched Cobra Kai. Come on. Indiana Jones, come on. Austin Powers, good. Austin Powers is interesting, but not necessarily good. I like Nolan Batman. I like John Wick. The Boys. Does The Boys have more than one movie? I feel like I've only seen one The Boys movie. All right, real quick. I gotta play a game of blackjack. That's we gotta play it real quick. So let me get out of here and clone it real quick because we had a good time doing that. Git clone Jack Black's blackjack. Git checkout. What was that branch called? The working branch was called I don't remember. Git branch -r no -a whoops, I didn't go into the directory. That'll do it. And let's run that again. Doesn't crash is the one that we want. So we are going to git checkout doesn't crash. I don't know why we called it that. All right, so now let's run it. I'm pretty sure I just do a Python 3 blackjack. Okay. Hello, sirs and or madams. I'm Jack Black, the famous actor. I am also a world-class blackjack dealer. Do you want to play a game? Yes, I do. So I'm going to type in yes because I want to play a game. Starting game. I got $35,000. Okay. I think if you get to $100,000, you win. Maybe it's only $50,000. And if you get to zero, you lose. So I'm going to place a bet of, let's go ahead and put 20 grand on the line today. All right. You have the following cards. I got a 7 of clubs and an 8 of diamonds. I got 15. Do I want to hit? I play bold. Okay. I absolutely. I want to hit. I got a 17. Ooh, do I want to hit or do I want to stay? I'm likely going to use this, but I'm going to play smart because I just put 20 grand on the line. I am going to stay. And I lost that, but I got $15,000 left. So I want to put $15,000 on the line because it's going to be exciting. I have 13. Am I going to hit? Yeah, I'm going to hit. Whoops, I messed up. Dealer wins. I lost. So the game exited because I lost all my money. That's trash. I'm playing it one more time. I would like to play. I want to win real quick. So I'm going to put, let's go ahead and do 10 G's on the line real quick. Yeah, I'm going to hit. I have 19. I'm going to stay. I got $45,000, y'all. There we go. $45,000. I'm going to only put $1,000 on the line. I'm gonna put $19.99 on the line real quick. I'm gonna hit because I'm probably gonna bust right here. I lost, so I only lost a little bit. $43,000. I'm putting 43 grand on the line. I'm putting it all in right now because I'm gonna win this one. $43,001. Ooh, I got a 6 of spades and a 10 of hearts. Play to win. Play to win. Let's go. There we go. Blackjack, baby. $86,000. I think I have to get all the way to 100,000. I'm gonna win it right here. I'm gonna win it right here. What'll get me to 100,000 on the dot? I'm gonna need, I'm gonna need 14,000, but I'm gonna need 13,998. So let's put that in there. 13,998 will take me exactly to 100,000. Oh, and I got blackjack off the top, and I won the game. Let's go. We did it. Player wins blackjack. I did it. Oh wait, I thought it ended at 100,000. All right, well, that's where it was supposed to end, but I'm gonna put it all. I'm gonna put it all on the line again. No, I'm gonna put 999,999 on the line. I'm gonna hit. I'm gonna stay. I won the game. I won the game. Player wins. The game's over because I won all the money. I took the house. We did it. So if you want to play blackjack, there you go. It's not the master branch. It is the doesn't crash branch. But it was exciting. That was an object-oriented programming approach to that game. It is not perfect code at all, but we had a good time doing it. It was very fun. We will do the same thing with Pokemon. We will create a game just like this on Wednesday with what we've already created with the Pokemon program. Take it yourself if you like and go have some fun with it. But we will make our Pokemon battle and see if we can win. Thanks everybody for coming through tonight. It'll be fun. Yeah, gotta catch them all. We can extend this to have a lot of fun. All right, that's it. Tomorrow, if you're following along with pipelines, tomorrow we'll be doing an Ansible workshop. So we learned about configuration management with Ansible on yesterday, but tomorrow we'll be doing a workshop. We'll be creating a scenario and we'll be building some stuff with Ansible tomorrow. And then we'll be back here on Thursday to finish out the Pokemon stuff with this. And then on Friday, I think we're learning about, I have no idea what we're doing on Friday. On Friday, which is Horizons, we are learning about security in the cloud and AWS best practices. We'll be talking about things like AWS's well-architected framework and understanding CloudTrail and diving deeper into IAM and understanding how to handle security in the cloud, as well as how to the rule of least privilege, things like that. We'll be diving into all of that. So should be pretty fun and exciting. So who are we gonna head over to raid this evening and say hello to? Who's online in science and technology? Anyone we know? Anyone new? Techno Tim's on. Let's go say hello to Techno Tim. What tech projects are you working on? Techno Tim is dope. We'll go say hello and find out what projects everyone is working on. Thank you so much for the follows. What's that? Hexagonal Robot. Welcome, Bird Crimes. Good to have you, DJ Veeman. Welcome to the channel, Nick Pouncies. Good to have you all here. Sorry I missed you when you came in. Hopefully I got you all tonight. Techno Tim. But that's it for tonight. Thanks everybody for coming through. Invalid username, Techno Tim, because your boy can't type. Let's try it one more time. Or maybe it is Techno Tim. That's right. Yeah, there we go. All right, you type it in right the second time. The first time I missed the N in techno. But peace out, everybody. We got 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Peace out, everyone. Have a great night.